Well, uh, I was in a 4-year relationship
Okay.
with a man. Not like that. Nobody want to hear that.
Hey everybody, welcome back to 90 Day Fiance, The Single Life. So we are now on episode 5 and we're going to start right off with Chantel. So she comes downstairs and she's talking to her friends while they're making breakfast. They ask her all about the details of last night and she tells them how he didn't grab her hand and she had to be the one to grab his. And they kind of look at her sideways and she tries to explain that it might have been because he was nervous. And I can see that too because they have like a million cameras following them everywhere they go. So Mooney, I think that's his name, right? So he asked her if any eggs got cracked last night. And I thought that was so funny because I never heard of such a saying before, but now I kind of want to use it.
But I asked him if he wanted to drive me home, and he said yes.
Baby, did any eggs get cracked last night?
What?
Did you eat any bananas last night?
No.
So Chantel's face after he said that had me dying. And not the bananas. Okay, so I used to think her friends were straight up annoying, and not gonna lie, I still do, but they be cracking me up sometimes. So they bring up that they drove 4 hours for this, and I'm like, oh yeah, to be honest, they kind of did, but I don't think she wanted to do the nasty with him that day, right? Because that's like too soon. She just wanted like a kiss and that's it. But then they ask if he's like a player, and Chantel doesn't know how to respond, so they ask if he's just boring, and she still doesn't know how to respond. And then she explains that she just wants to find love, and I'm like, is this trip to find love? Really? I don't think a week is long enough to do that, but honestly, I feel like we should just put Chantel on The Bachelorette at this point. So Chantel tells them that he invited them to hang out with him and his friends, and so they leave Mooney and they go get ready, and Chantel's saying that maybe she can sneak off with him and have like a one-on-one together. So now it's later that day, and Chantel and her friends go to the beach and they meet up with Giannis and his friends, and everybody looks like they're having like a really great time, and Chantel's looking banging once again. And I swear, sometimes I'm no better than a man because, oh, Chantel, baby, my goodness. So we hear from Giannis that he likes Chantel, but he wants to make sure that she has like the same values as him. And then he mentions his family, and I'm like, Chantel probably won't like to hear that. But also he says like, the same value as like religion. I'm like, is Chantel religious? Because I know religion can be like a huge deal breaker to people. So Chantel is giving Giannis those eyes, and y'all know exactly what she wants. So she says she needs to try and find some alone time with him because she just doesn't have enough time. Because at this point, I feel like they have like 3 or 4 more days at the like resort. So Chantel is able to get him by himself and they start talking. So she asked him what he expects out of somebody to date. Like, what is he looking for? And he says somebody he can settle down with and have a family and kids. And Chantel is basically somebody that comes to mind when he's thinking of all these things. So it's like she's checking off all the boxes for him. So Chantel says that she also wants to have kids and is kind of like resentful of Pedro for taking all her years away. Because as we know, the older you get, the harder it is to have children. So Giannis brings up her marriage, and apparently Chantel and Pedro were together for 7 years. And that's a long ass time. And I don't know why I thought they were like together for like 2 years max. Like, I literally don't know why I thought they were only together for 2 years. But Giannis asked what went wrong, and she brought up about how his family hated her and wanted to basically use her for citizenship. And Giannis's face when she said that had me dying. He's like, damn, I better be careful. So Chantel said her ideal guy would be like an orphan, and Giannis is like, oh no. I get the trauma that Chantel has, but obviously bad family does not apply to everyone. So Giannis is like, oh, my family isn't like that, and he says that he likes to keep his family and his relationship separate. So he then asks Chantel if she would like to stay there, and Chantel says, oh, I don't know, would you give me a reason to? And she just stares at him and is like, obviously waiting for something. And we all know exactly what it is. Then they finally kiss, and it's like a really long one too.
How about that?
And then they leave and they go back to the group, and Mooney's like high-key me watching all of this, and now they just keep making out like every second they get. And I'm just like, okay, we get it, you know. So now on to Veronica. So we left off on Jamal calling Tim a bitch and them getting into like a heated argument about how he raises Chloe. So Jamal walks off, and I might get heat for this, but he kind of walks away in like such a sassy way. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like he said what he said and now he's gone. And the way Tim looks at the camera is literally me watching like, Oh my God. So Tim goes and says that he shouldn't have brought Chloe into this, and I kind of agree with him. But the only part I don't agree with him is when he says like he didn't even prove himself as a good partner yet. And all I can say is, Tim, who are you? Like, who are you to determine if he needs to prove himself or not? Like, you're not even the one dating him. It's just very weird behavior from Tim. So Veronica tries to defend Jamal by saying that it's good that he walked off instead of trying to continue the argument, and that she just wants them to get along. But I'm just like, oh my gosh, for what? Just let these two grown men be. So now Jamal and his friends are talking, and they're like trying to comfort him, but it kind of seems like Jamal is at his wit's end with all of this, and his friends say that dating Veronica will come with like a lot of baggage, and now Jamal is having doubts about coming to Charlotte.
Tim has been the biggest factor as to why I do have some doubts about living here, but it frustrates me that he doesn't even give me the chance to even show that I am good for Veronica. Stop talking about me to Veronica. Like, that's really it.
And I kind of agree with Jamal, because like I get his frustrations 100%. But let me know what you guys think in the comments about this whole situation, because I do feel like friends are there to tell you what you don't see, but I feel like Tim is just taking things too far as a supportive friend. So they go back and they sit down, and Jamal says that he's just over it, and that's just where their segment ends. Okay, now for Natalie. So she's driving somewhere, we don't know where yet, but she gets a car, and guess who got it for her? Starts with J, ends with Osh. That's right, it's Josh. So I truly don't know how Natalie does it, but she low-key secured herself a middle-aged sugar daddy. He got her a place, a car, and now soon a job. I feel like that sprinkle lady will be so proud right now. So Josh got his cousin to get Natalie a job, well, not a job interview as an administrative person at his chiropractor place. That's where Natalie's going right now. So Natalie goes in and she meets the guy interviewing her, and it's actually a receptionist job. So Natalie's telling us a bad experience that she had when she got in a car accident, so she went to a chiropractor to kind of relieve her pain. And I guess they kind of did it wrong because it scared her to the point that she didn't want to go back. And all I gotta say is same, because I feel like they could easily break your neck, and I heard somebody died from it as well. And don't get me wrong, I know it works, but it just won't be working for me. So Natalie had a resume, but it's in Ukraine, and all I'm thinking is, Natalie, babe, why didn't you fix that already if you knew you had an interview today? Luckily, he accepts that she will send the updated form in English through the mail. So he also mentions that they met before, but it was an awkward meeting, and watching the scene, it does in fact look awkward because she just seems very standoffish.
Nice to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you. You look beautiful.
Thank you.
Where are you from?
Yeah, I'm from Ukraine.
Ukraine. Okay, so little far away.
Yeah, I know.
After this, he asks her if she had any experience in customer service, and she said that she worked in a bookstore, but that really doesn't answer the question, so he asked again, and she gave a better answer this time. But then he asked what job she did that involved her working with customers, and she literally couldn't think of one. Like, after like 10 seconds, it honestly felt like 10 minutes. She said it was complicated, and he just said like, oh, okay, that's fine. But I'm just like thinking, Natalie, you could have just said Toys R Us. Like, nobody's gonna check up on that. So then he asked her if he were to talk to people that knows her best, what would they say? And she said that Josh would say that she is very needy. I'm like, Natalie, shut up. Well, at least she's honest, unlike a certain other woman we know. Okay, so then things take a weird turn when Natalie asks him if he knows the mother of Josh's second child. Like, girl, at a job interview with the cameras? And I just know she went digging through every social media to find this woman and came up empty-handed. So this was literally her last option, because ain't no way. And at this point, I'm like, Natalie, girl, you are not getting this job. So the job interview ends there. We know why. Josh's cousin says like he doesn't really know Josh's personal life like that, and basically he leads her out the door. So now Natty and her mom are making food and getting ready for a dinner party in her new apartment. So this is Josh's friends, and I couldn't remember. It was either Josh's friend or his cousin, but they looked alike to me. So I'm gonna go with cousin. You know what? No, Josh's friend. So it's with Josh's friend, who is a producer and works in the movie industry. So they set up the table, and Natty hears a knock on the door, and they're here now. So she shows them to the table, and they're short by one chair. So Natty asks Josh if he can sit on the bed, and he says yes. But I'm thinking is, she most likely knew that they were coming in advance, so she could have just quickly ran to like Goodwill or something and bought like one of those like foldable chairs or something. But luckily Josh is like a good sport about it, and he just sits on the bed. So they meet mom, and they all sit down at the table, Josh at the bed, and everything's going good. And Natty says she will read to him and watching Shakespeare. And I'm like, girl, you are bold, because in front of everybody, that's just so embarrassing because I would never. My favorite part about all of this is that because she spoke it in Russian, they probably don't know what the hell she was saying, and I also don't know when it was over. So that long pause before they clap was so funny. It was like, is she done now? Okay, I think she's done now. Okay, let's clap.
Взглянуться назад. Тебя здесь нет. Ты там.
Wow.
So David said it was really good, and he gave her an opportunity to audition for a movie, and overall it's a success. And I just think Josh is such a good man to be helping her out this much. Okay, so now we're gonna go on to Tyree. We love Tyree. So he tells us that it's been a few weeks since Tiffany stood him up, and now he's been 0 to 2 on dating women, as they all never showed. So now his brothers decide that they need to get out of town to go meet some women in New Orleans. So he meets up with his brothers and they're all excited. So his brothers are hoping that he gets a hug, a kiss, or at least something, because they want him to leave with something. So they go to their hotel room, and Tyree is describing how he wants his first kiss, and he says he wants it on a boat, and he wants it to be very magical. And I'm just like, this fantasy that he lives in, I want to live in it, please. So his brothers ask him what his type is, and Tyree says that he likes them all, but then they start clowning him, saying that he can't like them all, and I'm like, huh? Like, yes, you can. That was just very weird. But then he says he likes them aggressive too, because he doesn't like to make the first move. And I'm like, okay, Tyree. Understandable. So they're out and about getting their steps in, I see. And watching them makes me kind of want to go to New Orleans, because it really does seem like a lot of fun. So the guys are looking around for a woman that Tyree can talk to, and he's like, yeah, she's pretty. So then they tell him to basically go some balls and go talk to her, and he's like, nah. And honestly, I'm just so glad I was born a woman, because if I was a man, I would be single for life, okay? I'm not gonna lie, I would be single, because I cannot shoot my shot. And I have to admit, guys have it so hard in that area. Anyways, Tyree finally gets up and goes to the table to talk to the woman there, and they're having some real good small conversations. And then Tyree's brother just cuts to the chase and asks if any one of them is single, and Teresa says she's single, and he's like, good, because Tyree's single too. And I'm like, damn, he's not playing no games. Then after his brother did all that work, Tyree says he's been in a relationship with a man. And his brothers look so done with him, because why would you say that, Tyree?
I was in a 4-year relationship with a man.
Not like that.
I didn't know it was a man.
But one of Tyree's brothers gets them together, so they have like a mini date together. They're having a great conversation, and Teresa also calls him like a huge teddy bear. And like, we can all tell like they're vibing really well together as well. So after the mini date, Tyree was able to score another date with her. So he gets her number, and hopefully she responds back. Okay, everybody, so that's the end of this video. So let me know some of your thoughts on this episode in the comments. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. Bye.